Resolve and Moist taking on each other. A best of 7 winner goes on to our semi-finals here in the Rising Stars Odyssey. We're very glad you're joining us here on what is a great day for us all here at the Rocket and Rocket Baguette. As Breezy looks to have the first shot for Williams Resolve, just a little bit wide, but the early pressure from Resolve is going to put Moist in a bit of a dicey situation. Breezy off the backboard and nothing doing quite yet as Juicy plays it right back into the middle, and Noel to go for a goal once more will be denied.
We denied that time, but it's nice to see a bit of forward thinking already from Williams Resolve as they push forward in unison here. Breezy and Noasaki both just sort of lurking around that aggressive third as Juicy hits this one off to the side. Flame up quick for this, and nice clearance away from Cash just to open up a bit of space for the first time for Moist.
Yeah, and that's what Moist really need, is a little bit of space to work with. Resolve have done a decent job in the opening stages at closing down these angles, and a few shots so far. 2 shots from Breezy is the only ones on the board for either team. But it does feel like Williams Resolve have the better of Moist right now. Not seen Moist in an advantageous position as of yet. Try and get themselves that space. Still nothing yet. A nice pick away there by Cash. We're trying to see what dynamic that Cash is going to be bringing to this Moist roster coming over from Quadrant on loan for this tournament. What do you reckon that is the one thing that Cash has done in his past and done on Quadrant that you think could benefit Moist?
I have to say, it's definitely just volatility. If you've been following this player at all in his past, he's such a mechanically gifted player, so full of pace and just disruptive to any team he comes up against. Always really just hounding on in those offensive zones, and it's something that we're going to have to pay attention to pretty closely in this match, as he's going to be one of those players getting involved in the challenge game more so than maybe anyone else. But that's a nice drop down from Noah. Juicy to see this ball clear, maybe a little bit of space once again for Moist, but Williams doing a good job here.
They're doing a very, very good job. Rotations very clean right now. And I suppose that's what we're talking about with team chemistry. These guys have played all season with each other. And Moist only picking up Juicy during the season, and possibly, now playing with Cash just for this tournament, possibly in the future as well. It does take time to get used to playing with each other, and Williams Resolve definitely have that advantage behind them. Still no goals on the board, and that's the one main thing we're looking for here. Psycho is Joyo once again. And lovely save from him. Juicy's, or I should say that's Joyo's first save. Juicy's the one with 4 saves so far, keeping Moist on a clean sheet.
Oh, and this might be a little disastrous somehow. Oh. Somehow it's ricocheted against the post. I thought you just made the greatest jinx of all time, Craftman, but it was not meant to be, as in this aggressive third once again is Williams. They've had so much possession inside the half of Moist, but still this ball is not just going to break through that easily, as Cash, in unison with his teammates, just about sees that one away.
Psycho, I've jinxed goals and not goals many, many times over. I think my jinxing powers have run out, so if I say something, it does end up being true. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. As Moist now try to find a little semblance of offense again. Only 2 shots for Juicy. Breezy on 6 alone. 8 total for Williams Resolve. They are getting right up in the faces of Moist in their defense and picking this ball away in the midfield. Yet another chance for Williams Resolve. And it just feels like they're just throwing everything they can at the Moist net, and Moist really can't get a grip to throw anything back at them right now. Now we're less than a minute left. Moist trying to break into the corner, and the opportunities that Moist are getting are few and far between, and they're not really taking full advantage.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's just been almost complete domination so far for Williams Resolve, and I think most people would be thinking that this game 1 is at least going to go in the favour somewhat of Moist on paper. Such a strong roster in terms of individual calibers, but Williams Resolve doing such a good job as that ball in field is sublime towards Noasaki, and the first goal put away in this series, the side of Williams Resolve.
You could feel it bubbling and building ever since the first minute came and gone for Williams Resolve, and then just that one pass between the 2 protagonists there on Williams Resolve, Breezy and Noasaki. to send it home and put Williams Resolve in a late lead, 1-0. And now Moist looking to respond, and the first pass that they really try and pull off is intercepted, and a little bit readable there from the Moist offense. Noah might go for goal again, looking for a second. He'll get it to Flame, and Williams are going to take the first game in the series.
With 11 shots on the board, there's been no shortage of opportunities, and what a piece of control that was from Noah Saki to just flick that ball across to Flame. Just a gorgeous team play there to close this out.
And again, that has been Williams Resolve MO throughout this first 5 minutes of the series. And they have done everything and deserved this win here in game number 1. They take the first one. And Moist have a lot to think about in this next 60 seconds. Because that looked, I'm not going to lie, that just looked a little bit flat, a little bit subpar even. Like, that is not the Moist we've came to know.
Yeah, it's not the one that we remember from maybe the good old days from the Spring Major, for example, but this is only the first game in the series. I'm sure there's still many levels to this Moist roster of which we're not seeing just yet, as once again, this team is trying to get used to that new roster switch. And as you mentioned rightly, Craftman, this Williams Resolve roster has been one which has stuck together for quite some duration now. They're very much comfortable in their own skin, and Moist may be coming to terms with that still, but I think one of the biggest issues for me in that game 1 was Moist just struggled to break out of defense altogether, it seemed. Individual efforts just did not prove enough there.
I mean, the stats that you just saw on screen there, 11 shots to 2 in favor of Williams Resolve and 69% field domination as well, meaning that the ball spent 69% of the game in the Moist half of the field. It did feel that way, and Flame just looking to continue what they started. Won't drop here, although a nice touch there from Joyle will put it down, and a big solo play from Joyle will put the first one on the board for Moist.
And a massive dunk has spawned him that success, as Breezy is so close to making a convincing touch away from his own back net in a very difficult situation there, but Moist 1-0 up.
That's exactly what Moist needed. After being held back and just given absolutely nothing in game number 1. To get a goal on the board early is a little bit of malfunction at the junction in front of net. Not quite sure what everyone was thinking there. Flame does eventually get it over to Noah, and he'll have another crack at it as he gets it round to Breezy. Another shot. Noah rotates in, and great save there from Cash.
Awesome save, and it was actually 2 players that managed to see that ball wide as Cash tries to duck underneath Noah Saki and ends up going high to fake him out at the end there. And at the moment, Moist looking a bit more comfortable, albeit still with individual efforts. Juicy Central takes this one over to the backboard. Another touch heavy towards the middle. It's going to give a potential chance for a counter here.
Yeah, a quick counter, but not put onto net. Is this? Ooh, the angle I was looking at there, I was looking at Joyo's camera and net. Did look like it was maybe sneaking inside. But this is better from Moist. They've shown they can defend well. They had a lot of saves in that last game there, Psycho. But they just didn't have the offense to back it up. And this time, Joyle gets a second. Lovely pass in the middle from Cash. And all of a sudden, it's the Resolve who looks like their Resolve is a bit broken.
Definitely so. And unfortunately for Williams Resolve, I think they just blinked and missed that play altogether. There was only Flame isolated on his own backboard, left in defense to deal with a very, very menacing infield pass. As Flame once again trying to do some damage. Breezy with a nice first touch here, and there's Noah to follow directly behind. Maybe a touch infield, but Cash to block this one away as the attack keeps coming.
A bit of miscommunication there as well from, I believe, Flame and Breezy. Breezy was having it round the wall, and Flame just came in thinking he was just going to tap it once. Breezy went for it again, and it just threw everything off rhythm a little bit. Now Williams Resolve with a mountain to climb here in game number 2 and a 2-0 deficit. And Moist now feeling like they're the ones in control. They're the ones with the momentum after having their spirits completely dampened in game number 1. Williams looking to keep that pressure on as they did in game number 1. It was really all down to that pressure and just giving Moist 2 shots in the end. Moist already have 2 goals and 3 shots, and we're only just halfway through game number 2. So that is, I believe, Williams Resolve's path to victory, and they find one with just exactly halfway through to this game to go.
Yeah, halfway done, and it's a good infield pass from Noah, and he got the bump as well on the last defender. That certainly went unnoticed to me, and I think everyone else as well, but Williams Resolve have managed to get a goal back. There is half time left in this match to do that extra bit of damage, but Juicy through the skies. Maybe a dunk is an option, but it's touched away to the side nicely there by their opposition.
So Williams looking to climb this mountain again. They've got plenty of time to do it. Moist would certainly like to extend that lead back to 2. They're just playing everything a little bit slow. There has been a few messy plays from both teams, mainly in front of the Moist net. This time around, they do get this one away clean. Resolve, after having complete control over Moist in game number 1, seemingly can't get the ball off Moist. They just want to have a go at playing Rocket League, boys. Just let them have a touch of the ball. But no, Moist just want to keep this one away from them, and Juicy's just going to play with his foot here. They do eventually get it through. Flame might have found a way through, but the shot not powerful enough. Catch takes it to the side.
It was a little close to being disaster there for Moist, and Cash just about tracked back in time with a quick free flip across his own goal there, as another attack is going to try to be launched forward from Moist here, but blocked away instantly. Nice first touch from Joyo, and a flip reset to match. A double flip reset makes that, but Moist, like you've been saying, Craftman, they're in control for the time being. They seem unfazed almost completely in this second game. And all of that vigour that we saw from Williams Resolve, that undying pressure we saw, that domination in the half of Moist, seems to have been lost a bit.
It does feel like Moist have a little bit more confidence. Maybe it was that solo play from Joyo right at the start to put them on the board early. Gives them that confidence and the belief to come forward and put the pressure onto Williams Resolve, because we did not see that whatsoever in game number 1. Now with 30 seconds left, it's Resolve who needs to try and break through the Moist defense. Flame on the right-hand side. Noah will tip it backwards. Breezy's the only one who can make a shot here, and he hits it straight into the path of Joyo. And now clear. He does. Breezy will take this one off the midfield, though, and Flame dives up in the air for it. That's a big miss from Cash. Could allow Noah in, and it will. Last 10 seconds here, Psycho. But luckily enough for Moist, they get it down the other end of the field, but the shot isn't there. Breezy and Flame now. Last chance here in game number 2. Last breath, and it dunks off the ground. I thought that might have been it, but it does land in the corner, and Moist will tie the series.
Moist seemingly back to form already after that disaster of a game 1 for them. They have just turned it around so quickly here in game 2, and it wasn't through sort of the domination we saw from Williams Resolve in game 1. It was through a more methodical, sort of almost practiced approach, where they just took that game so confidently after those first goals went in. They knew how to organise themselves to play defensively, how to play smartly, just leaving no gaps behind for Williams to capitalise on.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was down to, in game number 1 for Moist, really just... I hate to say this, but they just didn't seem bothered in game number 1. They just wanted to sit back, play defense, and obviously Williams Resolve battered on the door hard enough that it eventually fell down twice, and they got away with that 2-0 win. But now Moist seem to have woken up. They're pushing forward a lot more and participating a little bit more in the series as well, because now you've got 5 shots on the board compared to 4. You got those 2 goals as well. Joyo's playing really well, and I think Joyo will probably be the one saying, "Come on, guys, let's wake up. Let's have a go at this," because obviously that first goal does make a huge difference to your team morale. And Joyo, being really the original member of Moist that's still left, he's got to kind of be the face of Moist and say, "All right, boys, let's just push through this. Let's get this one done. And let's see what we can do now going into game number 3 as we land and arrive in the train station that is Urban Central."
The beautiful map choice that is certainly sure to provide us with a playground to see not just what each of these 2 rosters are capable of, but just the sort of longevity they would have, the consistency they could have with the performances we've seen so far. And hopefully this game 3 is akin to a bit of both of what we saw in game 1 and game 2. That's a nice touch from Flame, but didn't quite dip past that final defender as Noah keeps this attack going. Breezy up to the skies. Flame following forwards, and you can see that hunger from Williams Resolve yet again as a double touch near miss comes through from Breezy, and they're still hounding on.
Still hounding this moist net. Not the easiest of games, and not the easiest of teams to go up against. Williams Resolve have always been that plucky underdog. They've always had that underdog mentality of thinking, all right, we obviously deserve to be here, and they certainly will prove it here in game number 3 as Noah puts Williams on the board first.
Absolutely clattered that finish towards the net, 112 kph, and Joyo was already attempting that squishy save as soon as the shot was even threatened. He knew that was a difficult situation and still couldn't deal with the threat.
Let's see what Breezy has in the tank now. Again, Moist, I was praising their defense as well, but they're getting absolutely tortured here in the early stages of this third and really crucial game in this series. Try and take the lead and possibly put yourself two games away from going through to the semi-finals of the Rising Stars Odyssey here on Rocket Baguette. It's a fresh prospect to deal with, and that was looking at really, really dicey in front of the Williams net, but here now, Williams Resolve just trying to, again, I don't think they're being too conservative here. They are letting Moist come forward a little bit more now, Psycho. But it does feel like they are pushing their efforts and trying to get this 2-goal lead back again.
Yeah, absolutely, and Moist in the sort of last minute or so have established a little more downfield control just to give themselves presence in this game, which they've been lacking so far, as Juicy infield is going to take this ball and drive it into the corner. A nice dunk on one, maybe a bump on Noah Saki, but he's wise to it as the brakes are put on in time, so the bump couldn't see its way through. And now Breezy in the corner to dart past one player, and it's so often about these individual battles when you've got such aggressive players on the field. Joyo almost with a shot, but couldn't make it happen as another follow-up comes through. Still not enough for Moist.
A bit of miscommunication from Moist as well. Joyo was double committed. I think it was Juicy jumped up with him. And again, just the chemistry not clicking on all cylinders right now for Moist, but they are knocking on the door here and trying to tie this one up. Williams Resolve now try to break out. Oh, is this one over Juicy? Not quite. Does get the tap into the right-hand side, and now Joyo clears the path for Juicy, but it won't be enough. Noah takes this off of Breezy, off the backboard. Joyo well defended on the backboard and causes Williams to start from scratch again, but over to Breezy. Top corner, just a little bit wide, and again, the shooting accuracy is really letting Williams down at key moments.
Maybe so, and I think that was an opportunity which could have been converted just if that shot was pixel perfect, but it was not meant to be, as Juicy has one of his own, a demo to threaten this back defense. Breezy with a great pre-jump up to save that one away, as Juicy follows through and tucks this one in the bottom right, and for as much as Williams Resolve have been holding on, they just simply couldn't here.
If you saw what Flame did in the middle of that play as well, he launched himself back to net, and it was unfortunate where he landed. He landed on the corner of the post, and it's like when your wheels are either side, can't really get control. He did eventually jump down and try to make a defensive play, but he was all out of momentum, all out of boost, and all out of whack, and it gives Moist a chance now. With a minute left, a tie game. Flame just trying to clear his lines. He does so. Looking to go on that backboard. It's not been it's been well defended, I should say, by Moist, especially by Joyo, but that infield pass has been so deadly for Williams Resolve, and just a little bit off target, that one.
Flame's contact was just not what he was after whatsoever there, but these opportunities are ones you have to take in an environment like this, and Breezy, all alone at the back with a lot to do, has found a teammate forwards. A nice double touch there from Juicy across, and Flame is quick to respond to that, and Williams Resolve, they seem to be torn thin at the moment. When Moist do take that extra step forwards, it's becoming almost increasingly difficult for them.
10 seconds now. Joyo, who's been really the linchpin for Moist. Try to slow things down and get a chance right at the death, but will be right back on his own goal line as Juicy now tries to take this one clear over Noah Saki. He will not get, Noah will actually get the touch to the corner, Flame back into the middle, Breezy try to keep this one alive, and now Noah with 12 boost won't be able to get to this one. He does get the touch, but it's not a significant one. It will fall down for overtime now. Overtime, golden goal situation. Whoever wins this takes the lead in the series, and it might come here from Joyo right off the ground pinch, 10 seconds into OT. Well, it won't fall, but Moist on the rampage now.
And as much as Moist want to be that side that's destined for success in a really, really crucial Game 3 for the series, Moist missed out on that chance. That's a good save from Flame over to the corner, and he might have a chance at grabbing this 100 boost, taking that step forward, maybe a 50 into the corner that can be followed for Nuri. Drops it down in front of Joyo.
Oh,
nice
no!
touch from Breezy, and it's so soft, it's so delicate that it's caught the defense completely off guard here, and Williams Resolve taking Game 3 as quickly as that.
I've praised Joyo's backboard defending a fair bit in that game, and he was defending well, but just that little mistake, not knowing that the attacker was there for Williams Resolve, and he just touches it down. That's so unfortunate for Moist. They could have easily won that. They had a lot of offense going in that game, but that one mistake from Joyo right at the end is what cost them. And now Resolve have 2 games still to win if they are to go through. Just look at the stats there. 50-50 on field domination. It was so back and forth. But Williams Resolve with the majority of the possession. It does show you how Williams Resolve have been able to weather the storm a little bit. And with 6 saves on the board, it's a lot better defensive performance than we saw in game number 2. So both these teams are starting to find their rhythm in both offense and defense. It's just the mistakes right there at the end, letting Moist down.
Yeah, and it's as simple as that. And occasions as stressful as this, just one single mistake can be what really punishes your team long term. And that's the unfortunate reality for Moist. And I think it was a strong Moist performance in that last game as well. And I don't think the scoreline did it justice, but they were really digging deep to make Williams Resolve panic in those defensive situations, just one after another, supporting each other so nicely in attack. Were this Moist roster, but still, it just was not enough.
Not enough. It's really been the story of Moist series so far. Everything they're doing is just not enough. Not enough offense, not enough coming forward, and not enough aggression from Moist. Star player really in Joyo, he's been an absolute sensation the last calendar year in Rocket League. Hasn't really performed all that well. A nice block there though. Or I should say Joyo has been the standout player on Moist, but it's just the 1 or 2 mistakes has let the side down. I do want to see more from Cash and Juicy. We've not really talked about them all that much. They have been pulling their weight, but it does feel like every play right now runs through Joyo.
Yeah, definitely so. I think he's been that sort of breakout player to create chances for Moist at the moment, as Flame keeps this ball away from menacing hands on Moist. Breezy to hit the ball forwards as well and just try and disrupt the defense a little bit, as Moist have been doing in that previous game. What an infield pass towards Joy. What a pinch as well, and somehow this ball was ricocheted to the back of the net. 140 kph, and you can tell that was intentional.
Boom goes the dynamite. Absolute banger from Moist. Joyo's going to get credit, but give a round of applause there to Cash. What a pinch. One of the fastest pinches I've seen in quite some time. Certainly gives Williams Resolve pause for thought. I mean, you kind of have to pause as you see that whizzing by your head. It's like, alright, okay. Cool. Thanks, guys. Not much they could have done about that. That was phenomenal. And again,
Yeah,
just an earlier goal for Moist might give them the confidence they need to try and get a 2-goal advantage. But here comes Flame and Breezy. He's got Breezy on the right-hand side. Noah jumps up on top. couldn't get the dunk down. He won't even get credit for a shot. And that was just a very strange play from Williams Resolve. I think it was mainly the Moist defense getting this away, but realistically, their Psycho, they've got to score.
Yeah, they have to. They're forced in this situation to do exactly that, but the difficulty is finding a pathway through, finding some sort of strategy to break through this Moist side at the moment, and Cash with plenty of time on his hands to make sure that this ball is secure as Nowasaki is forced to run all the way back for boost. Flame to get a nice bit of disruption, at least on one player for Moist to maybe launch a counter-attack for future. It's a good dunk from Nowasaki, and the follow is there, but that's so smart from Cash in baiting in that first attacker. And so far, Williams Resolve is being beaten to the punch time and time again here.
We are starting to see the feistiness that Cash can bring to a roster like Moist. I want to see that a little bit more consistently, though. Joy, I'm sorry, but Joy's boost is really annoying me. The bling of the rainbow boost, bing, bling, bling. I do apologize for that for those people at home. Although saying that, I remember one time in DreamHack Valencia, Flame had the lawnmower boost, and we started a chant in the crowd saying, "Flame, that's annoying. Stop mowing the lawn." So they've both got annoying boost traits to themselves. At least Flame's not cutting grass this time.
Yeah, thankfully not, but it's the small things that might get in the heads of your opposition, and maybe this is just one such strategy that Moist has put forwards. Even unlikely as it is, that is an interesting save for Williams Resolve as this ball's pinched forwards. The second interesting pinch we've seen so far this game. Nowasaki to boom this ball forwards, but Juicy already prepared on the backboard to get a soft touch over to the corner. And I think one thing that is doing Moist a world of good at the moment compared to what we saw from them earlier in the series is they're settling this ball down when they do have possession of it. It's not necessarily just a solo play forwards towards their opposition's net. It's controlled stuff from Moist here to keep possession long term.
And that's something that they have struggled with throughout the course of this series. Remember back to game number 1, every clear that Moist were making was just getting picked up by a Williams Resolve player right at midfield. As Cash does get that from midfield himself, 2-0. And the defense for Resolve really should have taken this away, but Noah's timing just a little bit off on the flip.
Yeah, and you could tell Breezy thought that support was going to be behind him when he made that lunge forward from that third man position, and unfortunately Nowasaki just could not get that vital touch and was just inches away from doing so. And now we're in a situation where this series is flip-flopping back and forth depending on who's making sort of these big chances, making the most of these situations. And so far, Moist in this game, the ones to do it.
Cash, or excuse me, I think it was Breezy almost had that chance right on the goal line of Moist, and if that dropped, that would have probably given Williams Resolve a decent chance in the last 20 seconds or so to try and win this one, but unfortunately for them, Moist do keep it clear and win it and win this game 2-0 and tie up this series. Oh boy, this is a real ding-dong battle. Back and forth we go, trading wins, trading blows, and really, every other game you could say, oh, Williams look better or Moist look better. Yeah. They are starting to trade off each other and play at their top level, and Williams Resolve, that game wasn't for them, but Moist, after the loss in game number 3, picked it back up and have that confidence to try and tie the series up.
Yeah, and it's a massive win for Moist, because if they were to trail in this game potentially, that might just be it. That might just be curtains closed for a Moist side, which I'm sure have massive expectations in a situation like this. Of course, like we mentioned earlier, maybe trying to reclaim as an organisation and as a roster some of that former glory which was once lived, especially by the likes of Joyo on this side. But nonetheless, they have found a way back into this series. Now for them, it's just a case of keeping that ball rolling.
Well, let's roll on into Forbidden Temple. Game number 5. Who is going to go on to match point first? And it's Juicy to open up the account for Moist. The second game in a row where Moist take the lead very early.
The perfect 50-50 from Joyo in the corner, and it's just laid up the ball so nicely for Juicy, teed him up. There was also some disruption on the back lines as well, I believe, from Cash, just to eliminate that final defender rotating around. And quite quickly off kickoff, Moist asserting dominance in this game as Cash up to the skies bumped away their flame. Now forwards towards Noasaki, who's wise to not commit for that dangerous attempt. Joyo through the skies, 2 touches, maybe a follow from Juicy once again, but we will remain at a 1-0 scoreline.
By the way, just to keep you update on the other games happening around the Rising Stars Odyssey bracket right now, as we are in the quarterfinal stages. Winner of this game will play the winner of Carmine Corp versus Monaco Esports. And surprisingly enough, your winter major champions are down in a 3-0 hole. Monaco Esports are on the brink of winning that series. I'll keep you up to date with that as we get the news through. Right here, right now, focusing on Williams Resolve. Try and get a goal back, and they do. Breezy to tie it up.
A full team effort. Breezy downfield to Noah. A ball laced up high, and Flame had the audacity to just punch the ball at the crossbar, knowing his teammates' capabilities, knowing that follow-up could have stuck true, and it's done exactly that.
First time Williams Resolve have been able to tie the game in good time as well, and give themselves a chance here after Moist taking early leads in a given game. Phenomenal play there. Here comes Breezy out of net to try and flick it backwards. It was a very risky play. He was in a risky situation. Had to get himself back and try and do something. He'll end up whiffing it and now giving possession back over to Moist. Flame, that touch isn't going to do anything. It just gives it to Cash, and cha-ching, 2-1.
An absolute ripper from Cash. Unfortunately for Moist, that ball has actually been assisted a tiny bit by their opposition, but that is not to take away from that beautiful placement from the newcomer to the Moist roster in Cash, who everyone's eyes are on right now in his debut performance. Perfect shot there. It's Breezy. And to come out from defense, connects with a teammate downfield, and it's almost a perfect strike back from Williams Resolve, but just wide of the mark it was.
Try to paint that to top corner, but colouring a little bit outside of the lines. Williams Resolve, oh, they have maybe a chance here. Breezy gets past Juicy, but Joyo with fully boosted up. And with evil in his eyes, taking that one away from his opponents in Williams Resolve. Now back up the other end. Moist doing everything in their power to stay and keep this game alive, keep this series alive for themselves. 2.5 minutes gone, 2.5 to go, and Joyo will defend well. He has been the defensive man here for Moist Esports. Barred that one mistake back in game number 3, he has played relatively consistently. Here comes Williams Resolve trying to break that consistency from Moist. Up comes Juicy, and a shot will be denied by Flame. Really ping-ponging back and forth stuff here.
It absolutely isn't. Somehow Williams Resolve have avoided a pretty dire situation as a result of a bump from Moist that wasn't quite hit with enough force. And Breezy, what a touch that is. He's got an extra one almost past Juicy. Maybe a little bit of creative flair there. Definitely wasn't what Breezy was expecting on that play, but he's done so well with it. Moving forwards once again with an extra flick is Breezy. You can see Moist just knocking on the door continuously. And somehow Juicy has just been robbed away by that post to the side. Now, with 1.5 minutes to take left to go, Williams Resolve still in with a chance of biting back, maybe.
Juicy screaming out psionics piece. Fix your posts. Unfortunately for him, it does rattle around and bounce out. But still the lead for Moist. Now with just over a minute left, what can Williams Resolve do? Can they hold their resolve as they, or show their resolve, I should say, as their hashtag so boldly claims on their Twitter page? Breezy into a 3-man defense. Obviously won't get anywhere off of that, but the follow-up from Flame just a little bit too late as Cash was able to recover. But now you see Williams Resolve just trying to turn the tables and tie this one up, but right back down the end. They need to play a little bit of defense still, Psycho, as we tick into the final 30 seconds.
Moist with all the control here as Joyo with one flip reset there, but cut away by Breezy, who was wise to it. A double touch now from Cash, recreating what we saw just seconds ago, and now these seconds well and truly ticking down for Williams Resolve to make a lunge back downfield. Flame settled in the corner. 100 boost to his name. Breezy caught off guard though, and Juicy can't quite find that additional touch, but surely the damage is already done now. Moist coming forwards in numbers. They've got that solidity behind them, and they've got an extra win as well.
Yeah, that last goal not going in for Moist. They won't care one bit. They wasted enough time off the clock, and they put themselves in match point situation. It did seem like at the start of this series, Psycho, we weren't going to get to this stage for Moist. It looked like they were just laying down and taking the pin, but they have kicked out over and over and over again, and they've shown and proved why they are still one of the best teams in the world. And I mean, just looking at the stats, I think that's the first game, actually, the first game in this series that has been field domination in favor of Moist, meaning that the ball spent 56% of the time, as you can see by the stat at the bottom of the screen there, for Moist. It's spent 56% of the time in the Williams Resolve half of the field. So, as we enter game number 6, is there anything that Williams, you feel they could be doing better? Something that needs to change what they were doing back in game number 1 that they're not doing now? What's your take on it?
Well, it's just incredibly difficult to tell, actually, because I think this is one of those games where Williams Resolve weren't really on top of their game in defense, especially. We saw how it could have maybe been an extended scoreline for Moist. We saw Juicy rattle the post on a number of occasions in that previous game. It could have been 3, it could have been 4 for Moist, and maybe it's just as a result, maybe some change mindset. But forget the change mindset when you can change the tone of your series altogether 2 seconds into kickoff, and already a punch back from Williams Resolve.
Well, that kickoff didn't quite work for Moist there, did it? Juicy, I mean, you know you're going to cheat up, and I mean, it's clever there from Williams Resolve, getting the 2-man kickoff, pinching it through, pinching it over the cheating up man. That's a lovely play to give yourself a little kick in the rear end. The team morale boosted a little bit now. Could be squashed right here as Moist come back down the other end and smack it off the post. Juicy has not had the best of luck when it came to shooting. It's always hit off the woodwork, it seemed. And this time is no different. 30 seconds in, it is Moist scrambling to try and get a goal back. Joyo does get it down, but Juicy refuses the shot. He'll go back and play a little bit of midfield play to just keep this pressure on and not overcommit into the site here as Joyo, a man taken out by Juicy, but Joyo can't make anything land either. What a start to game 6.
It's absolutely electric from Moist, as I'm sure that early goal has just set something alive in them. Joyo, that's the 3rd air dribble bump attempt he's made so far, and maybe 2 of them could have stuck if not for tiny, tiny changes in the outcome. That's a nice flip reset from Joyo. Juicy immediately behind to keep the action running. Williams Resolve afforded maybe temporary reprise here as a result of that pinch on the wall. Finally, they can regather their resources, think about their push forwards, but Cash, so aggressive and volatile as he can be, has done well to push it back downfield.
Well, you got to say as well, Williams Resolve have stepped up their defense. It has looked a little bit shoddy throughout the course of this season, but the series. But they have done enough to get themselves into game number 6. Keep a clean sheet so far. The first 2 minutes after being absolutely pummeled here by Moist. Well, shoot from the left-hand side, but not to be. Try to get possession in this midfield is always a crucial part of Rocket League, and Cash does well. In comes Joyo to make the shot, just a little bit wide. It did give Williams Resolve the time to get back, rotate, and set up their defense before that shot could come in.
Through the skies now is Juicy. A nice flip reset, and you can see that Moist are really knocking on the door now. What a double touch that is from Juicy in front of the Williams Resolve net, but they're creeping forwards now. Let's launch over to the backboard. It's going to be a difficult one to follow up, but what a bump to open up the space. What a bump in front of net for Moist to equalise here. And Joyo had all the time in the world to think about how he wanted to place this one away and did find the back of the net.
They did indeed, and I believe Breezy's actually lost connection here. Hence the result of that goal. We unfortunately don't have admin powers in this particular series. So as per the rules, I think we do need to play on. And that's just going to be really, really unfortunate for Williams Resolve.
Yeah.
Because we do need to play on, and because we've had goals, and if we had pause, I believe we're going to have admin powers for the and pauses for the upcoming semis and grand final, just to make that clear. But right now, Williams Resolve are going to have to play at 2-3 disadvantage until Breezy can get back in. Very unfortunate, and obviously we've had a goal there, and there's been 2 goals as a result of that disconnection, and Williams Resolve will argue 3. And there goes Flame as well. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen here. We'll try and get our words from our admins.
Yeah, it's a unique situation, and for Moist, we did see sort of their strengths rise through this series as time went on. We're fully aware of the individual capabilities of all the players on this team, but as this series progressed, they just graduated from strength to strength. And of course, this situation far from ideal for Williams Resolve, and it is something that many a player needs to work their way through. Of course, coming through open qualifiers and the likes, there's many situations like internet connection and stuff like that which can really just plague a game, plague a series when you least expect it. And unfortunately for this Williams Resolve side, it's not done them a world of good here.
Yeah, we're just going to try and get a word from our admins about the official stance. We saw in chat Williams Resolve said they have forfeited the game, but we're not taking that as official yet. We'll wait for our admins to confirm.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're just gonna have it's a very unusual situation. We're kind of disappointed because this series was shaping up like a really good one. It's just unfortunate the way things have panned out towards the end here. But yeah, we'll try and get this all sorted out. We'll go to break, and we'll come back and stick with us, and follow us on Twitter at the Rocket RB as well, and we'll keep you updated there as we go. But for now, it does look like Moist are going to go through into that semi-final matchup. But for now, stick with us here on the Rocket Baguette, or the Rocket RB, I should say, and we'll have more Rising Stars Odyssey presented by Ali after this.
Le décompte est lancé. Apparente Jack dans les airs. L'heure des balles de Apparente Jack. Le maximum sur Yves. Et ça va donner l'ouverture du score. Derrière. Sourion n'est pas là. Là-bas touche le sol.